Welcome to another episode of the Divorce Couch. You're very welcome. Grab a coffee, pull up a seat, and we're going to have another chat. So my name is Claire, and I am a divorce coach in the north of Ireland.
And hi, I'm Jackie, and I'm a divorce coach in the north of England.
Hello, my name is Simone. I'm the divorce coach from Germany.
And I'm Salma, and I'm a divorce coach based in London, UK.
Great. So you've met us all now. Today is New Year's Day, which is like one of those days. So we're past New Year's Eve, we're past the New Year's Eve resolution thing that's been started. And we wanted to talk about the idea of future and looking forward and what opportunities it might bring. So I decided to look up some dictionary definitions. So dictionary definition of future is something that will exist or happen in time to come. So something that will exist or will happen in time to come. And then I decided to look up the dictionary definition of opportunity. And it is a good chance for advancement or progress. And I loved that because a new year is a chance to kind of sit down and reevaluate. I tend to do my reevaluating between sort of Christmas and New Year. And I sit down and I go, right, okay, how has the last year gone? Where am I? I have found that it's really good when I look back and see where I was, because then I know how far I've come. And sometimes if we don't take time to actually do any of that, we don't actually notice, and we don't give ourselves a chance to be proud of who we are and proud of how far we've come, even if we feel upset or we feel sad or we feel angry. If you're on a divorce journey, from where you have been to where you are right at this moment, you have changed, because that's all of our life's journeys change us. So we wanted to talk today about the idea of what could we use this New Year's Day, this new year, as an opportunity to maybe help you to lift yourself out of where you are emotionally now and go, well, what is possible? What might exist in my future? And we're looking at the year coming ahead. So, Salma, how about we start with you? What are your thoughts on this whole general idea?
I think for myself, pre-divorce, I always was a very goal-orientated person. So it was almost like I had my life mapped out, and there was like a tick list of tick, 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 tick. And then I went through this period of immense sadness and feeling stuck and not really going anywhere with my life, because there was so much upset going on that, you know, all of the things that I had set myself, all of those kind of came to a standstill. And I got to the end of my divorce and I thought, my life's not going anywhere. I'm not, I'm just stuck. I don't know where to go from here. And that was a feeling that was really uncomfortable for me, because prior to that, it was almost like I did have my life mapped out, and that was just the way that I suppose the personality that I am. And it took me a really long time to pick myself out of that and get back into this mode of thinking, okay, it's happened now. That tick list that you had has changed, because obviously divorce was never on that tick list. It was never one of my goals. Yes. I had to really take a really hard, once I'd kind of gone through that, making peace with my emotions and what had happened and the sense of failure, etc., was to then pick myself back up and think about, okay, where do I want to go from now? Because, we can stay in that state of what we would like our future to look like, but unless we don't start doing something about it, even if it's a tiny actions about helping yourself feel better or having a new goal to look forward to, we're just going to stay in the same place. So for me, it's been very much about now looking forward, maybe a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and really thinking, okay, who do I want to be? Where do I want to be? And not only who I and where I want to be, but how am I going to become that person? Whether that was personal development, which I feel like I've been on this huge journey of personal development over the last couple of years, but also, about the things that I wanted to achieve and what I wanted my new life to look like, because it wasn't a life that I'd ever envisaged, being a single parent, on my own. So I didn't have a game plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about, for me, like looking to the future is really about getting my game plan together and thinking, okay, I'm not necessarily saying that it was easy to get there, but it was about looking ahead and thinking, what do I want and how am I going to get there? Or how am I going to at least start getting there? Because it is a long journey. It doesn't just happen overnight. But, you know, if we don't know what we want, then we're not really, you know, how are we going to even start moving towards something better?
Yeah, I like when Claire did the opening, and I hadn't considered that when we prepared for this. I like the idea of not only looking to the future. I like the idea of basically looking backwards for now and be full of gratitude how far we have come. I mean, here we are still standing. Christmas might have been difficult, might have been your first Christmas without the parent, without the children, might have been completely different, but here you are. You still made it. And you know what? It just dawned on me, you know what? Make a list. What helped you to get here and what did not work? So, you know what? Don't take it with you. And I told you, ladies, that I am not so much of a resolution person. But again, in preparation for this, because I'm a big fan of Mother's Day and birthdays. And you know what? Sometimes we need, because we get so carried away in our daily tasks, I think we forget sometimes to really focus. So why not take New Year's Eve as the outlet to think about what do I want to create? You know what? And very often, I don't know whether it was similar with you ladies, you don't know who you want it to be. But I remember that with my divorce, I was able to reconnect who I was as an 18-year-old. I was so full of passion and for life, and I knew I was full of my values. I wanted to make changes, and I wanted to have meaning and insights, and I just got carried away. But you know what? I loved every step on it, but I think I did it with a lot less conscious. And I think now we have the opportunity, if you listen, maybe this could be a game changer. This could be, you know what, from now on to make it a little bit more conscious and just try to reconnect. Who did you want to be as an 18-year-old? This could be your chance to basically take it and then make it true somehow with everything you had experienced. Basically just enrich.
I absolutely agree with what you're saying there, Simone, 100%. And it is about consciousness. I remember, you know, sort of after the divorce process or through the divorce process, but feeling this was an opportunity. It's a huge opportunity to actually become the person that I don't think I'd ever been at all. Yeah. I mean, a lot of us, you know, if somebody said, well, what do you want? It's like, oh, just a minute. What do I want? And that can be a really difficult question. Because how many of us actually give thought to what we want? We don't. And so I think just taking some time to then think, actually, what do I want my future to look like? And how can I create it? And I just found it immensely exciting that actually, after all those many years, I could start doing the things that I enjoyed. I could live my life in the way that I wanted to. I could set myself little goals. And what is it people say? Well, you need to have a plan because a goal without a plan is just a wish.
Yeah, very good.
I have that on my desk and I read it every day.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. But yeah, and it is difficult. Of course it's difficult. But it is also such a huge opportunity to step into who you really are. And that's the hard thing. It's just sitting down and figuring out who that is and how you can create it. But yeah, I found it quite exciting, actually.
Funny, listening to all of you talking, do you know the thing that's come to mind? There's a phrase that we coaches use called the hamster wheel question. And, you know, when I was sitting listening to you, I was thinking, you know, this is an opportunity now, this New Year's Day and going forward to maybe change some of the questions you ask yourself. Because if you ask the same questions, you will stay the same because your brain will search for answers to fit that question. So if your question is, why did this happen to me? What's wrong with me? why has my like this? You're never going to be able to see anything other than the evidence to back those questions up, because when you ask something negative, your brain searches to find. Questions are great because our brains are made to find answers. And if you could change that question to something like, well, what might I learn from this? Or what if it wasn't about me? What if my partner had an affair and it actually wasn't about me?
Mm.
That gives you something else, because then you're not looking for what's wrong with you. You then begin to see, well, what's right with you? And there's lots and lots and lots right with you.
Yeah.
But if you don't look for it, you'll never find it. So maybe this new year, you could use it as an opportunity to think, let me change some of the questions. But to do that, you have to start noticing, what questions are you asking yourself? And listening to you, Jackie, when you were talking about, this opportunity, and your face lit up. And I thought, it is hard in the middle or at the beginning of a divorce journey to think that this could come to be really good. It's really hard, because you think, this isn't what I wanted, and there's this resistance. But actually, if we could broaden that a little bit and go, well, what might be good that could come of this? So as you said, what do I want? I didn't know what I wanted. No idea. And so it is an opportunity. And that's why I looked up the dictionary definition of the word opportunity. I thought, what does that mean? So the idea of being able to see something progress and happen to pull you in a different direction, in a direction that's going to be really good for you, and pull people into your life that are like-minded. And that's part of the reason why I went into coaching. And I think all of you too, probably, because I have learned that this has changed who I am.
Yeah.
And I would like to add, whatever we're doing now, I mean, we are approaching this from a rather similar personality stance. Whatever we are learning for us now, I guess I wish I would have known in the marriage. I mean, all these lovely things that we say about ourselves, stay true to yourself, don't lose yourself in the midst of living. Take this also something that should go with you into your next partnership, right? You know what? This is something that we should have done in the marriage. And whatever happened that we are divorced, whatever we are learning about ourselves, take that with you into your new life. You know what? Whether you are in your friendship, or whether you are with your children or parents or new partner, you know what? This is a real step into your future, staying with integrity in a new relationship with your outside world. And this is all brilliant.
It's all growth, isn't it? All these life experiences are growth. And I think as well, it's, you don't always have to say, right, okay, that's my goal, and stick to it religiously. If so far along the way you find something that's not working for you, then I remember reading something where they talked, it related to work actually, but about pivoting. And actually, you're going in a straight line, you think that's your goal, but if so far along it's not working for you, then okay, pivot and go off in a different direction. And that's okay. It's okay to change as you go in. And even your failures, or what you perceive as failures, they're not failures, because more growth will come from that. You will learn from that and take that with you as well.
And that's what they say, isn't it? There's no such thing as failure, only feedback. So it's a learning opportunity. And I think one of the things that I found quite helpful once I was through the worst of feeling sorry for myself phase, which personally lasted much longer than it should have, and looking back now, that has been a big learning curve, is that, like Claire said, start asking yourself the right questions, because it's a bit like that sort of the mini example that they give, when you go out and you might buy a red Mini, you've never noticed the hundreds and thousands of red Minis out on the street, but the minute you own one, you go out and literally every second car is a red Mini. And I think that is about sort of wraps in with with our focus and knowing what we want. That if we're if we've got our eye on something that we know that, okay, in 6 months time, or a year's time, this is the direction that I want my life to take, you're going to start recognizing those opportunities that come your way rather than just missing them, because your brain is just filtering out all the information. So if we're focusing on the negatives, we're not going to notice any positive like opportunities that come along because we're not looking for them. So, you know, to be able to visualize on some level what it is, the direction that you want to go in, then slowly you're able to see, you know, various different opportunities that might come up your way. You know, if I hadn't of, you know, when I was made redundant and I had just focused on my sad life at the time, I don't think I ever would have seen this ad pop up, or I wouldn't have even clicked on the ad pop up for this divorce coaching, because it wasn't even, you know, I wasn't if I hadn't have been looking for, thinking, actually, what else could I do? What can I do with my life right now? I'm at a crossroads. Do I want to go back into a 9-to-5 job, or do I want to see if there's anything else I could possibly do? And I remember that day, you know, clicking on the ad and then booking that first call. And it's all about looking for those opportunities, but recognizing those opportunities. And we're not going to see those if we're not looking for them.
Yeah. And I think, you know, as we bring this to a close now, I think listening to what we've been talking about, the idea of a future and opportunities and what can come into existence, the big thread underpinning all of this is actually we have to do that. There isn't a fairy godmother that comes and waves a wand and we just wish it was all better and back the way it was. And so, and even if there was, actually, then there's no learning, there's no growing, and you just go back to the same, and the same may not have been good. You just didn't recognize it or see it or want to see it or whatever it happens to be. But this starts with you. Who are you today on New Year's Eve? And who would you like to be on New Year's Eve next year? Because that is within your control and that is within your power. So when you start looking at you and going, where have I come from? To see that there's so much good that you haven't recognized because you haven't known to look for it. And where would I like to go, and what's possible, and how am I going to figure out how to get there? Your life can look very different on New Year's Day next year, but only if you choose it to be. So this is where you get to have to do a bit of homework and a bit of work, but your entire future self will thank you for it. This is the opportunity you have to create a life that is full of the things that bring you joy, that spark you, that light you up. And maybe you just need to dig a little bit deeper to find out what they are. So we wish you a very happy new year as we roll into it now. We hope you'll join us again the next time on our divorce couch with a coffee and a chat. And we would love it if you would hit the like and subscribe button to let us know that we're on the right track. And if there's anything that you would like us to do, we'll see what we can do to put that in.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Happy New Year, guys.
Bye.